Hey everybody, it's Aaron. I just want to show you a couple, some of my favorite go-to moves for more of a self-defense application on the street. Probably one of my favorite moves is the sucker punch defense. If you look at most fights in the real world on the streets, they take place in nightclubs, bars, stuff like that. Unless the mutual combatants involved are really skilled boxers or fighters or MMA guys or whatever, the punching techniques are usually pretty shitty. Shit's going everywhere. They have no real solid technique. The hits aren't real crisp. They really don't focus on anything but the head. They call those head hunters. So one of my favorite techniques is just a basic shoulder stop technique to defend against a sucker punch. I've done other videos on this. It's one of my favorites. On a bob bag, it can be a tremendous workout if you want to get the heart rate up going, but here it is in a nutshell. Hopefully you can see it. A sucker punch, I'm going to kind of pretend I'm Bob, is going to be like this, okay? So you got this hooking motion that's going to come around, okay? So keeping that in mind, you got 2 points of contact that you need to worry about. First and foremost, the fist coming in to clobber your freaking face. That's a problem. Okay, we need to do something about that. So one hand comes up like this to block that incoming punch. It could be this way to get this side of the forearm. Doesn't really matter if they're just doing an open-handed strike. Either one is fine. Not to get off base if they've got an edged weapon or something like that. That's a little bit out of the context of this video, but we always want to keep this part up and take that incoming area on this, because if we do this and we get all these tendons cut, we won't be able to use our fingers and grip any type of weapon if we need one or whatever. So that's one point of contact. We're stopping that incoming punch by putting something here. The next one is hitting that shoulder, and we're stopping the shoulder, hence the name of the technique. This is really where the power fulcrum is. Now, if you break down the anatomy of a sucker punch or a haymaker or a hook, the real power comes from the back leg. I understand that. But we can't address, the back leg with our hands way up here, unless we kick him in the nuts or something, which probably would be a potentially good defense against a sucker punch. But you got to mitigate the incoming attack. So at the same time, this hand comes up in a oh shit type of wedge or shield, and you want to plaster your palm right into this guy's shoulder muscle, okay? So it's going to look something like this, okay? Stop. And you want to get these things up at the same time, okay? See how I'm kind of turtling under my own little natural shield? And that's a startle flinch response. Oh, fuck, here it comes, right? So it's boom. And that's going to hopefully affect the brachial plexus tie-in nerve cluster that's in that upper pec front delt area. Wham! Okay. Now that'll probably stop the punch, okay? Every time I show this technique, the first question is, what about this guy? The incoming punch. Well, that's a good question. So what I like to do is, after I've shoulder stopped, I like to step in and shield with a spear elbow, okay? What does that do? That does 2 things. That shields me from the incoming punch. Now, could it still get through that other secondary punch? Sure it could. This is combat. You might get clipped a little bit, man. It's about mitigation. It's about damage, the lowering of the damage to you and getting your offensive weapons in play against them. So we're here. Oh, crap. Now, I'm doing this really slow and light so I can kind of show you the form. I'm coming in here. All I'm doing is I'm checking my hair. Now, when I really do this, notice how the bob bag goes back several inches. That's because I'm actually stepping in explosively, boom, wham, with that elbow, okay? The beautiful thing about this technique is that secondary elbow strike is offensive and defensive. It's defensive because, oh shit, I'm blocking that secondary punch. It's very offensive because no matter where I hit him, anywhere in this area, it's going to have really good effect. I could hit the brachial plexus, no, correction, the solar plexus area, and that's really going to hurt. What if I hit him in the chin? Yeah, that's going to be pretty effective. The nose, right? You see where I'm going? Maybe I just glance him in the collarbone. Whoa, get back. Okay. But the key is to snap that thing up there and powerfully, explosively step in. So it's something like this. Look how far he went back. He went back pretty far, okay? That very well may end this. It may not, okay? So if you have a bag, you don't need one of these body opponent bags to practice this. You know, boom, you can do this with a friend and practice lightly. Be careful on that spear because this is a very effective weapon. And I've bopped a few of my friends in training in the nose and the chin, and it sucks. So basically, bam, get back, okay? From this position, it's probably hard to see, but from this position, we're chambered for all kinds of good things, okay? I can pull this hand up, wipe this guy's face back, and go into cyclic punching, okay? Or I can wipe this face, and then I can punch him in the solar plexus. I can wipe back and feed into a knee, and then he's going to naturally buckle down. I can follow up with any kind of takedown. That's just one variation, okay? So the drill is wham, get back, something like that. Pretty straightforward. Do that repetitively on a bag of any type, and you'll start breathing heavy. Your heart rate will go up. You'll get some muscle memory for the actual technique, and it's actually a pretty good workout, okay? Another option to the shoulder stop, okay? This one's really interesting. You shoulder stop, but instead of spearing in, this time you're just going to take an aggressive step, either at an angle or a complete sidestep, and hit him with the other hand right into the brachial plexus origin, which is the cluster of the brachial plexus nerves here in the neck. On some people, if you hit this thing right and hard enough, you'll knock them out. Now, the key on this thing is to get the power delivered from the step, okay? Look at the difference. First without the step, then with the step. Not bad. That was without the step. All the power came from my arm. With the step. See the difference? A lot more power, a lot more leverage when I step and slap, okay? Are you kind of sticking yourself out for that secondary hit? Yeah, you are. But if you're fast enough, okay, you should be okay. And remember, I always chamber my opposing hand that's not in contact with the bad guy. I have it back. Why do I have it back? I can shield, or I can chamber for my secondary hit. Okay? Anytime we chamber our hits, no matter where they're at, we get a lot more power because we get the shoulder and the hips into action. And that's where your really good power for striking comes from. So I shoulder stop, I step, I chamber, I nail them, okay? And notice, I come back, I'm chambered. As soon as I fire this guy, this hand comes back up to a natural shielding defense. Always, every time, have a shield. Okay? And then from here, as I lean up, one right into the nutsack, right into the yarbles. Good times, great oldies for me, not so much for him. Okay? So that's one variation. Okay? It can be anything. Okay? Can you fold this elbow right into his chest? All day long, baby. This is the secondary hardest bone surface on the body. Wham. Okay? Could it come over and cut his face open? You bet. Okay? Could it be a straight across horizontal, twisting at the hips? Absolutely. It can be whatever you want. Okay? So those are just some of my favorite techniques I like to kind of drill and incorporate together. Be prepared. This guy was here to clobber you. He was going to clobber you and clean your clock. So if you do these techniques and you finish him, my advice is get the hell out of there. If he goes down to the ground, don't pepper him with more punches. Self-defense is enough force necessary to stop the attack against you. Once that threat is neutralized, you're done, okay? Too many people have gone to jail for fighting or assault because they took that one minute step past self-defense. And it's ruined their lives, it's ended their careers, it's put them in jail. So remember, wham, get back, leave me alone. Boom, take him down. Run. Maybe go call the paramedics for the guy. Call the police. Some people are on the fence about calling the police. I advocate calling the police and saying, hey, this guy tried to attack me. I defended myself. He's laying, in the fetal position on the ground back on 16th and Market. I ran out of there because I didn't want to fight with him anymore. My opinion is if you go to the police first versus them going to the police first, and then they contact you if for some reason they figure out who you are, you're going to look kind of suspicious. Well, if you did this, if you were really attacked, how come you didn't call us afterwards? Okay. Other people would disagree with that. That's a topic for a different discussion altogether. But some people advocate don't call the police because they're just interested in arresting you. I'm of a slightly different opinion, but that's neither here nor there as far as this video is concerned. A saying that I read once in a book is fighting is self-defense gone wrong. And that's absolutely true. If for some reason my defense doesn't work against this guy and now he's starting to kick my ass and I continually engage him, I'm losing control. This thing's taking a turn for the worst. I need to beat feet out of there. I need to swallow my pride and I need to get out of there because A, I don't want to get hurt, and B, I don't want to go to jail for being a mutual combatant. So there it is. Two of my favorite techniques for the shoulder stop or a defense against a haymaker. That's one, or that's actually the same move, sorry. Or it's boom, get back, okay? So there it is. Good times, great oldies. Train hard, fight easy.